Every extra layer of markup on compute storage, networking, and managed services make hyperscaler AI harder to justify and makes neoclouds look smarter, faster, and more economically serious. Now, obviously, the hyperscalers would argue that you don't want to go with neoclouds because those guys are startups and, they're venture based and, many of them just went public, things like that. And so the normal risk in working with a startup or working with a new company is they're going to get taken out of the market by some of the bigger players. And I think that may be the case. In other words, the neoclouds are like any other business. Those folks there are looking, to build their own wealth. And eventually they're going to have an exit. They're either going to take the company public, and then they even get acquired after that, or they're going to sell the company outright. And so we will see those shifts in normalization in the market. And I do think that enterprises, will get negatively impacted if they invest in a neocloud, and that's where their AI workloads move, for the next few years. And suddenly that neocloud is taken out of the market by even some of the bigger cloud providers. And so in other words, you're going to find yourself folded into AWS, Microsoft, Google, Oracle, IBM, or one of the other bigger clouds. And they're going to raise your prices once those acquisitions go through. As I remember, you got to remember venture-based companies can give away money. In other words, they can provide you with a significant discount because they're losing money on building the market. And they're okay with that, at least for a few years. And so people are going to reap the benefits of, that kind of, business tactic. And eventually the prices are going to normalize. And the hyperscalers would argue that your prices are going to go up anyway in the future. Why don't you just go ahead and pay us now? Because we're going to be consistent. And, for the next, 10, 20 years, where the neo cloud provider, the startups, obviously are going to normalize. They're going to get absorbed into other players, and you're going to have to deal with that disruption. And I agree with that. That's going to be a risk in doing this. But in many cases, shifting workloads from a neo cloud to other neo cloud providers and other public cloud providers is not necessarily a hard thing to do. It's going to be a pain in the neck, but you're dealing with the same processors. You're dealing with the same API systems, you're dealing with the same open source, AI platforms, and it's not going to be a huge obstacle. So it's okay to find the cheaper providers now, and then in the future, go ahead and shift to the other providers that are going to be available to us that are going to make the most sense then. In the future, go ahead and shift to the other providers that are going to be available to us that are going to make the most sense then. So I would really kind of make the expectation, if we're going to move to a neo cloud, that we're going to eventually have to move off of that platform at some period of time based on some sort of business reality. And that being the case, we just need to build the system to be prepared to move, which you can do. If you architect the system, architect the AI system correctly, it should be portable across different platforms.